So this next one is an article that a lot of you probably did see because Burton reposted it, and it was on an online mag called Deadspin. Is a guy that basically wrote an expose on the last 3 resorts in the U.S. that don't allow snowboarding.
What's even better is this guy's a snowboarder that actually went skiing at these resorts. Like, he took lessons to ski to go check it out.
Yeah.
And see, and you know, it wasn't, he was very open that he's not like a snowboarder. He's just someone that snowboards. And that was really cool, like, because he came from outside, whereas my perspective would probably be very jaded and fuck you, I'm going to do what I want.
Right. Yeah, and his whole view of it was really nice, and it was kind of refreshing to see somebody write about snowboarding that wasn't trying to, that either A, just had no fucking clue, or wasn't trying to promote themselves as this all-included, like they're a part of, deep part of the industry.
Oh, like the people that write for Outside Online?
Yeah, like, he knew enough about snowboarding, and didn't try to say anything, didn't try to inflate his personal view of it, and was also accurate enough that, like, he didn't really mess anything up. Like, he got it pretty accurate, I think,
there was a few things.
A couple things here and there that I was kind of like, and more than anything, a lot of those things were just like, okay, well, you're just not a snowboarder.
Yeah.
You're someone who snowboards. So
exactly.
I didn't, I think the author actually did a really good job, and I read through the whole thing. A lot of times I'll, grab one of these articles and I'll just kind of skim through it, look for the stuff that I need to really look through, but I actually read the whole thing. Yeah. It was actually pretty well written, and the topic was interesting.
It was well researched. Like, he had his history right, especially when it came to Mad River Glen or whatever up in Vermont. He had that. He nailed the points about Deer Valley and Alta really well and succinctly and stuff, and he got that across. It's just he could have gone a little further into how Alta is on Forest Service land. Yeah. And essentially they're denying a certain group of people from the Forest Service land. Even though they're saying, well, we'll let you hike up and you can ride down, you can't use our lifts. You can't use our lifts, but the lifts are on the land, which has always been the argument from Wasatch Equality. So
I agree with him. I think before 2030, I think Alta's going to have to allow snowboarding.
Well, here's my issue with it. This is the one point he did not make, and I wish he would have jumped on this. In the Battle of the Mega Passes, you have Icon and Vale. On the Icon, which I buy, I have Deer Valley and Alta, 2 resorts I cannot fucking use. I get email blasted by Alterra about, come stay at Deer Valley. You want me to come stay at a resort I can't ride? Yeah. Like, I literally can't ride. You basically want to take my money. Yeah. But treat me like a second class. And I think this Mega Pass is going to be the argument, is going to be the backdoor way that Alta and Deer Valley, because it was
Deer Valley's private, right? It's on private land, I thought.
It is on private land.
So that one, I don't think they could ever argue that.
But Alta,
absolutely. It's on public land, and I'm paying for it. And eventually, some judge is going to be like, "Yeah, you can't deny snowboarders anymore."
But it was really funny to see this quote. People seek us out for it because there's only 3 resorts that offer this experience. I really want to know if these people are white nationalists, because I feel like that's the type of group you're attracting there. Because,
they're just bigoted and angry, and and that's the thing is, he shows a couple quotes and a couple videos of, people that he met. And that's exactly how they act. Is bigoted and angry.
Yeah. And to go on with that, this is the one that really makes me laugh. We survey our guests every year, and overwhelmingly we hear that it's one of the main reasons Deer Valley was selected for their ski trip, and that it's now what sets us apart. You're literally asking the smallest group of people that don't want to be around snowboarders, the ones that argue. My favorite is like the argument and they market it this way, that we push off the snow. Really, skiing has a thing called the fucking snowplow. Yeah. The fucking snowplow. Yeah. You're literally pushing it. And they're like, it shaves the tops off moguls. I'm sorry, but any snowboarder that likes to do moguls should just be punched in the throat. Like, moguls suck. Yeah. And he made it, the author of the article made sure, because one argument was, the groomers are better because we all ski. And he was like, I couldn't notice any difference.
Yeah, and that was what I was going to say. He blatantly said, he's like, I couldn't see a difference on the groomers between Alta and anywhere else I've ever ridden. Yeah. And on top of that, like, he made a pretty good point that I really appreciated, that even his instructor basically had to admit in the end that really it doesn't seem like the issue is snowboards, but ability level. Because you put the same ability level of a snowboarder as a skier on a steep mogul run, they're both going to scrape off the top of the moguls because the skier's going to snowplow down the whole thing, and the snowboarder's going to slip slide down the whole thing. It's the same thing.
I thought it was funny. He said actually, due to their clientele base, they were less proficient at skiing at Deer Valley, and they tended to fall more.
Right.
And I was like, well, yeah. I mean.
That
makes sense. Like, whenever I see never-evers that come to Breckenridge and stuff or anything like that, it's the same thing. If you've never done it, you're going to eat shit either way. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter if you're at Deer Valley, Alta, or Breckenridge, or Park City, or Mammoth, you're going to eat shit. It's, I think, though, these last three, it's their marketing. They've tied it to them for so long.
Yeah.
That
how do you get out of it?
Well, except for Mad River, because they're a co-op. So
and Mad River... That was the other thing that I appreciated.
They used to
allow snowboarders. They don't, and the only reason they don't is because their ownership says that they.
Well, it all comes down to the one thing: that single chair that comes to the top. You have to make a 90-degree turn. Snowboarders would push off the chair, and because it's fixed, it would cause it to potentially derail.
Have issues.
And then two guys accosted the owner of the co-op's wife in a grocery store, calling her all sorts of names, and that was what sealed it. Yep. That frickin' 80s punk rock bullshit attitude is what ruined it there. Because when Burton did the poaching contest, they were like posting on social media.
They loved it.
They were like eating it up.
Yeah.
And I was like, these guys,
they're not patently against it. It's not like we will never allow snowboarders. It's just that their ownership, their co-op ownership says they don't want them.
And they said, the guy even pointed out in the article, if 1,000 people would buy into that co-op, it would literally change the whole power dynamic of that resort.
Right.
But no one wants to buy into it. And I was like, and I'm all for it. Like, I'm all for it because it's capitalism. I mean, it's a tiny resort. Like, what is their vertical? Not even. It's under 1,000, I think.
Yeah.
And it's there's better resorts in Vermont.
Right.
So it's
that's
funny.
The funny thing about Mad River is it just happens to be. It just happens to not allow snowboarders. It's not really on purpose. It just kind of is that way.
No, and it's like after Burton did the poaching contest, that was when Taos allowed snow. I remember when that happened. And I had friends that went down, and they were like, yeah, there's a lot of people that were like anti-snowboarder. Now, I think it's funny, my friend Dash from New York is one of their marketing guys, and he's been a snowboarder for like 30 years.
Yeah.
And it makes me so happy to see that, like, as they progress with the times, they have a guy in marketing that is a snowboarder now.
Right.
And I still haven't made it down there, but I will at some point. And
same.
But Deer Valley, Alta, like, I look at the terrain when I'm in Utah, and I'm like, it looks sick, and it looks like it would be fun. But at the same time, I've got Solitude, Brighton, Park City, you know. Or let's be real, I'll just go north and go to Powder Mountain because they limit the amount of tickets they sell, and I don't have to deal with lines. I mean, I know this upcoming season I'm going to try to make it to Utah and do a meet and greet out there where we can all go ride and stuff. I've talked about it. We talked about it in the last podcast, and I've mentioned it in a few other videos. When we do it, it'll be at Powder Mountain because I like the idea that we're not going to be fighting crowds because if you want to be there, you've got to buy that ticket because it's a limited number of tickets. But at the same time, it's a limited number of tickets, so it's not going to be that crowded. Plus, it's $25 a cat lap.
Yeah.
Like, that's freaking awesome.
Yeah, it's sweet.
So, I think that's really cool. But I think you're right. I think we're like about 10 years out from them having to collapse to allowing snowboarders.
And it might be sooner than that with the advent of the passes. I mean, I think that is going to be the next lawsuit is somebody's going to go, well, I'm paying for this mountain that I can't go to. Not because I can't geographically get there, but because they won't let me. So I'm paying for something that the owners are then not allowing me to go to.
See, I think
so. Like, it's either going to be suing Icon because I should pay less because I'm a snowboarder.
That's my friend Tom made that point. He got an email blast about Deer Valley. He turned around and fired an email right off. And he figured he'd get nothing out of it. And he got someone from Human Resources contacting him within 15 minutes. And they're like, we're working on it. And I was like, that's all he said was they were working on it.
Yeah.
Well, what does that mean?
The hard thing is, though, what if somebody skis and snowboards? Yeah. Or, you know, how could you argue that, like, how are you going to prove I don't ski? So I can't go to these mountains. So I get a cheaper pass.
If anyone could do it, it would be me because there's so many public statements from me going, I haven't skied since 1984. I think skiing's stupid. I fucking hate skiing. there's so many things that I say about that. You know, the fact that I made a skiing sucks shirt.
Yeah.
You know, and stuff like that. Like, I could be the face of that if I really wanted to. Mm-hmm. I have no problem. Like, if Wasatch Equality wants to go that route, if they reach out to me and they're like, we want to make you the face of this, I would be like, sign me up. Where do you want me? Middle finger in the air. I don't care. But the thing is, like, this is my argument. I'm paying essentially for 14 days that I can't use at either the 7 between Deer Valley, 7 at Elton. Give me 7 more days at Brighton. Give me 7 more. Well, I think
and maybe that would be their solution is instead of saying, like, you get the 7 days at Alta, 7 days here, you can be like, well, I'm a snowboarder. I don't want the 7 days.
Give me 21 days total at Brighton. I'd be the happiest man on earth because I've got solitude.
Let me transfer them to another mountain. And those would be the only 2 mountains you can do that to. They'd have to offer it to skiers as well. Yeah. Because, you know, like I said, you can't guarantee that somebody
Well, you just offer a third pass option because they have 2 pass options. They have the premier tier and the next one down. You just put one right in the middle in there. And you make it a flexible 14 days that go to any of the other resorts, but you can't go to Deer Valley or Alta. Right. And if you get scammed there, then it null and voids this or whatever.
Right.
And you make it the exact same price as the top tier one. I'd be fine with that. Like, I'd be like, cool, whatever. Okay, cool. I got an extra 14 days I can go to Aspen with. Fuck yeah, I'm stoked. But that's it. And, you know, the fact that we still have holdouts, and like, did you read any of the comments under the Burton when they posted on Facebook, looking at the Facebook comments? I try to avoid Facebook comments because I believe that most people are retarded. But some of them, like the one lady's like, who cares? We got all these mega passes. I got the choice of going to all these other ones. And I was just sitting here thinking, I was like, this bitch buys a Vail pass. Like, that's all she cares about. But you have with these mega passes, you have so many other resorts to go to. Yeah. I mean, when I was out in Utah, you know, I was out there for 5.5 days, something like that. I think it was 5 days. And I rode, you know, I rode Park City Canyons, I rode Powder Mountain, I rode Brighton, I rode Solitude, you know. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was fine. Because on the drive out, I stopped and hit Powderhorn on the way out, which we need to go ride that on a powder day. Like, I will drive across the state because I swear to God, they were like telling me how busy it was. And I was like, is there even like 40 people here? You have 4 chairlifts. I never waited in line. Like, you'd figure I'd wait in line at some point. Yeah. But, just give me more options. I'd be fucking happy. But if anyone wants to sue them and use me as a poster child, let's talk. Yeah, for sure. I have no problem with this. Like, I really have no problem with this. And like you said, they'd have to prove that I skied. Like, I don't even think there's photos of me as a child on skis.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know if we could pull up photos of me skiing either. I mean, the last time I skied was in college. I went one day just for the irony of it, but I don't even know if there's any photos of it.
I have no...
Now they have verbal proof, but, you know, whatever.
I haven't... No, literally, the last time I skied was 1984. I was on a set of K2 Mickey Mouse skis. I made it to the top of the tow rope at Kissing Bridge. Pretty sure we were Kissing Bridge. It might have been Hollymont, but I'm pretty sure we were at Kissing Bridge. It was with my grandmother. I took them off and threw them at her, sat on my ass, and scooted all the way back down to the lodge. And that was the last time I was ever invited to go skiing with Grandma. So I knew at an early age it wasn't for me.
Yeah.
So whatever. But still funny that there's 3 holdouts. I mean, whatever. Fuck whatever. Yeah. I don't really care.
Really 2.5. I'm not going to call Mad River a full-on holdout. I think it's a 2.5.
Let's be real. They'd probably allow it, just not on the single chair. Yeah. They'd be like, you just can't ride the single chair.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, you know, if they ever updated their infrastructure and got rid of that chair, they would just be like, we can allow snowboarding again.
Yeah.
They could. Yeah. It's just because of the way that thing sits, because if they push off on it, which, in all honesty, like, if they probably just changed the drop-in ramp, like, instead of it being 90, if they just went like this, so you'd come off and go like that, you'd probably be fine. Yeah. I don't know. Then again, it's a single chair from, like, the 1940s.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to ride it anyway.
I get scared sometimes riding the Pally chair at A Basin. I'm like, man, this thing's like fucking like 40 years older than me. I'm like, I'm gonna die. Yeah. Okay, well, we're getting off topic here. Yeah. Let's move over to something else.